You guys are gonna love this episode because interest rates might rise, and if they do, and you're a house flipper, what can you do instead? Well, this business owner turned his house flipping business into a mobile home dealer, which was an opportunity in his market that it needed to provide affordable housing, which is a necessity in all market conditions. So I loved how adaptable this business owner was, and he also inspired me by how much he gave to charity every year. As his business and his personal wealth grew, he gave more. So I think you guys will like it for those reasons.
I made a ton of money young. I was one of the original Viagra salesmen.
What?
Crazy.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah, never used my degree because of that. And then I went into health food stores and everything.
All right, so they weren't going to door with Viagra. You're going to hospitals, right?
Doctors.
Yeah.
Doctors. So remember, it's the 90s. The internet sounds like, wow. Remember? So you're too young for that, right? The dial-up.
I'm 35. I remember dial-up.
Right, but there is no online pharmacies. The only way you can get is through your doctor.
For sure. Yep.
So I was waiting. I was behind. I graduated grad school a semester late. I took a little time off, and my program, I was going to work for Pfizer, was late. So they gave me a job as a salesman. Mm-hmm. I never went into my program. I just did that for 3 years.
Yeah, I don't blame you if things were taking off as you figuratively and
I'm in my late 20s. It's making this crazy money, and I enjoyed it. Like sales, I never thought of it. And then I took a buyout before I got married the first time. My accountant told me. I didn't know what a buyout was.
Yeah, what is that? Did you have a contract?
I had a contract because I had a degree, so they gave me a contract because I was pretty good at selling things.
Mm-hmm.
But who couldn't sell it, right? And that put me into what I used to love to do, which was health, food, and fitness.
Cool.
And then I did that for like a decade and crushed it, like 30 plus stores, 3 states. But then 08, 09
Like
happened.
you had started 30 stores?
Oh yeah.
What type of stores? Supplements?
It was sports nutrition. I used to be into bodybuilding, okay? So it was all the good sports nutrition back in the day as they grew and everything, but plus we built out a juice bar where I brought some lady in from California I met at an event, and she like modeled the first juice bar. We put them everywhere. It was different back then. Because back then when you went to the gyms, it was just like a protein shake in a blender.
Yeah.
And we took that to one of my partners from grad school. He lived in Miami Beach, and we went down there with it, and it just went crazy.
Oh, wow. And then what happened that brought you into real estate?
So Miami did what Miami does, and it's a bad place if you have too much money. And so I had to leave, and I walked away in 08 from all of it, because the economy was crashing. People couldn't afford milk. They can't afford what we did.
Yeah.
So then I went to California. I had to dry out, right? I was addicted to the Miami lifestyle.
Yep.
And then I went into consulting for several years. And then I moved back here to take care of my mom who had cancer. I moved from La Jolla, California, Polk County, Florida. Fame. Oh geez, right? And a few years I worked for the same consulting company because their office is in Orlando. And then a friend of mine said, hey, come do real estate with me. I'm like, yeah, sure, this should be easy. Got my ass kicked the first year.
On like flips that you were holding in the market change, or what
Well,
happened?
this is 2019. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. I made $4,000 my first year total, not profit, total. So then I went out on my own, hired a local mentor coach who kicked my butt. And
was this somebody who advertises as a coach, or just a local person that you paid to?
She was a coach, but she was local, and I was looking for somebody. Now it's COVID.
Yep.
And I take a class with somebody whose big thing was door knocking.
Yeah.
How do you door knock during COVID?
Did she?
No, not her. This other class I was taking.
Oh, okay.
That's not a good thing to do, is it? Couldn't do it. So then I hired this other woman and did really well with it.
What was her strategy?
She was mailers, first of all, but she taught me how to market to people, how to look, taught me how to use DealMachine. She was using it because she's a big mailer person, right? Driving for dollars and all that.
Yeah.
In her class, I was probably the only one who did anything. So what she did was invite me back for free the next 3 or 4 times. So I was able to layer the marketing abilities.
Cool.
And then as soon as I could get into something different, I went into texting and calling.
Okay.
Because instant gratification. We did really well with that until 2022. By 2022, about 100 flips, 150, 200 wholesale deals, built this acquisition company. But then the interest rates were going to change, and they did. And I saw my business become a dinosaur because cheap money was going away. So I'm 53, my parents bought their first home in '81, I remember how hard things were. We were coming to that again, and we did see that.
In
right?
'81, the interest rates were in the 20s, right? They were pretty high.
It's like 16, 17%.
Yeah.
Now, you can't imagine that today, but 8% might as well be the same thing to people when you're used to such cheap money.
Right. So when you were doing primarily flips, right?
Yep.
Got it.
We were doing about 2 to 3 every month. We built up a sizable rental portfolio, mostly creative, and then we wholesale the rest. You know, because you got to use it. You know, you have to pay for your marketing. I spent about $25, $30 a month back then. But my business became a dinosaur right
What do
then
you
and
mean?
there. Well, the interest rates were going to change everything that we were doing, and we saw that because we would hold on to flips until one of our crews could get to them.
Correct. So the holding cost was too high now.
Well, they were
to
no
do
longer
that.
appreciating. The market was changing by the end of 22. Things were sliding the other way. But I bought a mobile home to flip. And I had to get rid of squatters. And when we showed up with the sheriff on that day, they took a chainsaw down the middle of it, unhooked it, right? Tried to. We opened the door, we see that. And you remember the Bugs Bunny cartoon where you see all the fleas jumping? That's what it looked like in the house.
Oh, man.
And that house taught me a system.
Okay.
Me and a girl in the office knocked it down, put a brand new one in, and I didn't need contractors. I had subs. So now that was July of 22. We sold it. Took 11 months. Made 11K. Supposed to make about 60, 70. Okay. Now we are a licensed manufactured modular home dealer. We control about 50% of all the new units going down in Central Florida on land home packages.
Wow. Then you transitioned due to the
Pivoted.
interest rates.
Yep.
I did not know that.
Found a void and filled it.
Okay,
Hard.
what was the void? And okay, wait a minute. You said the police dealing with squatters came in with a chainsaw?
No, the squatters took the chainsaw before we got there, tried to unhook the house. It's a double wide.
Got it.
There was a
Okay.
big cut down the middle of the floor. Never went in it because of the fleas. I'm like, dude, I'm not going in.
Yeah.
I'll show you the video. I have it with me, right?
I would like to see that.
I'm talking about this tomorrow in one of the rooms.
Okay.
So, but that taught me, so we had a $50,000 a week payroll. That's a lot for a small company.
Right.
Now I got a $5,000 a week payroll. We don't have a lot of W-2s. Everybody's a sub now.
Okay.
Because, you know, well contractors, setup company, all that. And, but so we pivoted into affordable housing only. You know, that 2 to 270, if you look in Florida, in manufactured homes, if you filter it by double wide, that's the only segment that's doing a little good. The rest of it stinks. Because it's a need, not a want. People need a place to live.
Right.
So we're doing really great in that demographic across Central Florida.
So you manufacture these somewhere?
No, we're the dealer. Think of a Toyota dealership.
Okay.
Okay? We're the Toyota dealership, and we buy from Toyota.
Got it. So you buy from the manufacturer. They come down the highway on a semi, like oversized load.
You see them. Yep.
Yeah. Are they split in half then?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So then they get assembled on site
On
wherever
site,
they're.
yep.
Yeah. So does somebody come to you who owns land, or do you find land and you sell the land too?
So what we do is we do what's called land home packages. We put them together.
Yep.
50% of that market from, say, Pasco, Hillsborough, over into eastern Orlando is ours.
Oh wow, cool.
Okay.
As a territory for the.
No.
Or no?
Of all the new units going down, if you look on the
Okay.
MLS, they're ours.
Oh, awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were the builder of the year in our second year already.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Lost money on the house though, but I
One-
sold 7 others because of it.
You said the house. You mean that first one?
No, I lost money on the house I won the builder of the year award on,
Oh, gotcha.
but I sold 7 houses because of it.
So why did you lose house on the one that
It's
you got?
just one of
the
those
award
weird demographics that it just didn't sell for some reason.
for? Did
Okay?
you like go all out
All out?
because
I
you
wanted
wanted
to
to
win.
win the
I wanted
prize,
to win,
right?
yeah.
So that's also why too, right? You kind
It
of
was the best loss I've ever taken.
yeah,
Right.
Good for marketing,
Absolutely.
but you did sell it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And just recently, held it too long. Okay. But you know, we do the land home packages, but we can also, if you wanted to buy from us, we do it for investors. Okay. We do it for, you know, Joe and Mary who want to put one down on their own land. Now we're in the process of being completely bankable with some of the big lenders where we can finance everybody in-house.
Oh, that's nice. A seamless transaction for somebody.
So we were going to own a mortgage company. We don't need to do that now. Because now if somebody needs that extra money to close, we can give it to them from the lending part.
Got it.
You know, it's just about controlling more of the verticals to help the end buyer out. It's a hard market. Think about it. Like what things cost these days. You know, when you look at that, and it's different for people who have that paycheck. So finding every way to give them as much as you can is what you need to do.
Make it easy. Yeah.
That's why we're bringing in all the other verticals now. We're bringing in the setup company, the HVAC company, permitting, because now we're paying a profit to one of our other companies, reducing overhead, and we can help them more.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, that seems very exciting.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Keeps us busy.
What is the average price in that area you mentioned for one of those houses with the land set up, ready to go?
Outside of Orlando, we try to be under 270, depending on the size of the lot. Like our bread and butter market, say Polk County, we're putting a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,800 plus square foot home on an acre, 265.
So that's affordable. It's way less than the average for the whole country. It
400K
is the average for many Midwest cities, right? So,
but not here.
Yeah, of course, it's higher price here.
Yeah, it's just finding. I think people are afraid to find something different. Take a chance.
What's your goal for this year? Would you say how many of those could you sell in a year?
So we did. Our goal last year was 76. We sold 76 on New Year's Eve at 2 p.m. And we lost 12 weeks almost with the hurricanes. Just shut us down because right up I-4 went, both of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, we couldn't deliver to certain areas because too many trees were down.
Yeah.
Lost a whole quarter, and we still hit 76. So we're on, as we get into the goal's 100 this year. We have 44 either sold, pending, or underway already this year.
Got it. Well, congratulations. That's great.
You know, we'll
Off to
get
a great
100.
start.
Yep.
One of the things I asked you when you came in, I didn't believe you, but I think you said you were a grandfather. You're going
No,
to
I want to be. That's my goal, to be a grandfather.
Gotcha. Yeah, you're too young for that now. But you said
53 is young.
You said you don't like giving things away. You like it when people earn things, so that it might be hard for you to be a grandfather that just spoils their kids. Yeah. So then I asked, would you be the type that passes your wealth off to your kids, or would you rather spend it all yourself? And then you said you actually give more to charity every year than you had in the past. And I hadn't heard somebody say that before. Tell me a little bit more about that story. Basically, that started out with you were kind of dirt poor yourself. You built this life that you have now yourself.
Yeah.
You said going to school, you had one pair of shoes for the whole year, and you had to tape
Sew
them up
tape
because
them,
they didn't last.
So there's two things I can say to me is my my metrics for not being poor. That I own more shoes than my wife. And pasta we ate so much as a kid, I can't eat it today.
Just what, regular pasta?
Regular pasta.
Because it was cheap?
It's what we ate.
Yep.
And so it's like, now my daughter loves it. She's like, Dad, I eat pasta. I'm like, no, I can't. Yeah, you know, so I made a ton of money young, and I was a jerk with it. I chased money, right? And money never made me happy. So then I told you, I left Miami, dried out, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then now we made it again, and I don't chase it anymore. It's not the goal. Money's a great tool. If you don't know how to use it correctly, what's the point of having it? You know, so we are able to, you know, we tie it to our church. We help 2 others in our town do exceptional things. And my whole team and I, plus my children, go and serve on those days.
What do you mean you help 2 others in your town?
Well, 2 other churches. We,
Gotcha.
Once it's Love Groveland and Helping Hands. But we show up and we donate our time along with everything else. But no one knows but the admin people that this is from us.
Yeah.
We're just there to help.
Yeah. I think one of the things you mentioned was soup kitchens, right?
That's where I learned about the need.
Early, right?
I found them on Facebook. So, you know, you start business, you have more time. I had no business, right? So I had time. I saw this on Facebook one day, and I went to donate my time. So I end up seeing the need in my own community. I didn't realize, because I don't see that so much. And I'm like, wow, my daughter's that age, my son's that age. They needed food, they needed shoes, they needed school supplies. So then as we grew and did better, it just became, we close, we give this, okay? Thanksgiving, it's this. Christmas, it's this. The school drive, which they start to get ready now, which is backpacks, school supplies, and sneakers.
Yeah, so your daughter, you found kids in the community that basically were in need, and you found a lot of connection with them because they're your kids' age.
Yeah, I mean...
Did you ever answer the question, though, about what you'd do with your wealth?
No, I didn't. I never thought about it. You know...
Well, no need to feel put on the spot.
Would I like
curious.
to just give it to
Sometimes
them?
people feel very strongly.
I don't think, you know, I hope they earn it. I don't think I could just like give them an easy life.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't appreciate it.
Yeah.
But I'm also the dad who wouldn't let that happen, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 simple rules for my kids, for my son and my daughter's 7, so it's hard to hold her to that yet.
Mm-hmm.
Good Christian,
Yeah.
good human, good grades.
Yeah.
Handle that and I'll take care of everything else. Cross the line and we're gonna have some problems.
Mm-hmm.
I've never needed to really yell or raise my hand. I don't need to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, better children than I ever was. I'll say that.
Do you ever get them involved in the business, or do they have any interest at all in the business?
My son is my driver this summer.
Okay. Well, what does that mean?
So he's going to drive me to my appointments because if I'm driving, I'm not as effective as if I'm working.
Yep.
And I don't know if you know Gary Harper from Sharper, right?
Yeah.
So my coach, he's helped me so much to get here. And he's like, you need a driver, guy. All this time you would do. I'm like, I don't need that. I don't need that. Then when I had one, I was driving to a speaking engagement in Jacksonville, and I sold like 3 deals to people. You know, units to investors. I made whatever it was on the way. I couldn't have done that if I was actually at the wheel.
Oh, really? So you could sell these to investors and they can rent them?
Well, yeah, we build them out for them. Okay.
Are investors your primary buyers of these, or
no? It's the land home on the
owner-occupant?
MLS, but this is growing more and more because, as you know, this is a singles and doubles market. The home runs are few and far between, so you got to hit a lot more balls.
Mm-hmm.
And we're one of the ways they can do that. You know, hey, we'll do all the work for you. You give us the land, we'll handle it, and this will be your back end probably.
Got it.
You know, and so that lets them do other flips without really flipping it.
So you had a driver on the way to this speaking engagement.
Mm-hmm.
So in the car, you're prepping more. You're mentally getting ready for that.
For the speaking, no, but I was on my computer and on the phone talking to them and explaining the numbers to it, which I couldn't have done if I was at the wheel. I would have tried, which is dangerous.
Yeah.
Because it's the one.
Oh, God, you just sold it on the way to the speaking engagement, not at the speaking engagement.
No, on the
Gotcha.
way there, I was able to really be effective, and what a good value it was.
That's awesome.
So now it's my son's job this summer.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote a contract too.
Oh, what's in the contract?
Not enough. It doesn't cover it correctly. I told him try again because I gave him there were rules of what he has to do, which is to prepare for the day. Make sure you have my schedule. You know where we're going. He's driving my truck, so I have a brake for the the lower back. Make sure that's on my seat and get the cooler ready.
Yeah.
So the first day he drove me a week ago, he didn't have it ready, so he doesn't get paid.
Oh, yeah.
Drove for free. Appreciate it, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you got to have all those details crossed, right? Because if he's in the real world, that would have been a huge problem.
No, you can't give it to him easy. But he says, I got you. Okay. When we get done, I'll have a better contract. Okay.
There you go. That should be fun, too, to spend some time with your son.
Yes. Seeing what I do each and every day, but being around, he'll be in the room on Monday. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really great environment to see things because he thinks he wants to do this. It's not easy.
Right.
I mean, you already know that.
How old is he now?
He'll be 16 next month.
Got it.
So, but super smart, has the abilities for sure. He's become a really hard worker over the last few years.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's about when I turned it up as well, was in high school when I realized in order to go, I wanted to become an engineer at the time, and my parents were like, well, you can't go and get into a good school without good grades. And that was interesting how I just tried more.
So I graduated high school in '89. Grades weren't so tracked like that. If your SAT was good and your GPA was above a 2 and you were an athlete, you're going places.
Yeah.
I was an athlete and I had all that.
Yep.
Now it's completely different. My son, he started playing football his freshman year. So, okay, he's my stepson, but I've raised him 11 out of 15 years. So he's Indian. They don't believe in football. They don't believe in any of that contact stuff.
Okay.
So he comes home from school and says, hey, Pop, I want to play football. Like, all right. But everybody said no. I just said, what's the rules? He said, I can't quit during the season. Fantastic. You know, it's kind of hot in Florida.
Oh yeah, it's really hot.
So it's August. He did not condition, just decided to play football. Now, we've never watched a football game. It was never his interest, but his friends play football. So he wants to play football.
Yep.
So I show up the whole week. I pull my truck into the parking lot and I watch from the back of my truck. And he's dying out there. But he's never last in any drill. First time wearing shoulder pads and helmet. It's a different world for that.
Yep.
So the end of the week, I go introduce myself to his coach and everything. I'm his dad. He's way darker than me. Coach looks at me and looks at my skin color. I said, yeah, you see how dark his mom is. We laugh about it. But he said what a hard worker my son is. Cool. And then I asked him a great question. What are you thinking out there? And he says, I just don't want to be last. He says, I know how hard you work. I know it's going to be worth it. And then I think what every dad wants to hear one day, he's like, will you take me to Dick's so I can buy cleats and gloves for football? And then he says he'll pay for it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
He said that on his own?
On his own. But I paid for all that. Because I think I never thought I would hear that one day. And he earns it. So
that's cool.
Yeah, and he didn't even know what a sack was in his first game. He got a sack in his second game. I said, hey, congratulations on that sack. He's like, what's that? Okay. You know, they asked me to help coach. I played at Rutgers, you know, years and years ago, and I won't do it because I want to enjoy it. I want to be there for him, help in any way. I don't want it to be like a job, and you know, like I so enjoy going to the games and just watching.
After you played football, how'd you get into bodybuilding?
That was part of football. I had a lift in high school for football.
Yep.
When I got to 9th grade, in Jersey you play Pop Warner and then you go to high school, and I had a football coach who, he played pro in the 50s. He was mean as anything. But he had a great weight room, and it was go lift weights. I'm like, fantastic. Okay, cool. Just fell in love with it.
And you competed as well, bodybuilding?
Yeah, years and years ago, yep.
Yep.
So,
I did one bodybuilding show like 3 years ago.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really fun, and I've really enjoyed how hard it is to diet, but how cool I had been able to see myself. Like, right? I mean, I'd seen people look like that in magazines, but it's like, oh man, like I can look cut up, and it really kind of elevated my own confidence just having gone through that.
So last year I weighed 227 pounds. I wasn't happy with it. I'm really good in here, so why am I not doing it well here?
Yeah.
Excuse me. I hired an executive fitness coach, paid for accountability, but paid to learn the newer systems and everything. We tested my DNA. We did all of this.
Oh, cool.
And I'm 190.
What'd you find?
I had the Jordache of genes. It's really good.
Okay.
He said, fantastic, except I don't methylate certain vitamins and whatever. Now they come in the mail in little packets. Fantastic, simple. And I still follow the program. I weigh 191 today. Okay. I did it because my daughter saw photos of me back then, and she's like, Dad, what are those bumps on your stomach? I was like, oh man.
That's funny.
Yeah. So I said, hey, am I good now? She's like, oh, you're good. Okay, fine. All right, good. So.
Do you feel like your fitness has provided you the ability to be more successful in business?
I think it carries over because you feel better about yourself. You know, we all are on a stage in one form or another, or speak especially when you're in this type of group. And if you tell people how you do one thing is how you should do everything, and you don't look like it.
Yeah.
Kind of hard, right?
Yeah.
And so it just carries over into it.
I know you spoke a little bit about what you're going to share this week, but I was curious, as we kind of wrap up, is there anything that you're really hoping to learn this week?
I learn so much here on leadership, just the people they have in the room speaking every time. You know, it's eye-opening, and especially it's encouraging because I feel that I'm the small fish at this level, and I just let it all soak in so many times. I take great notes. I don't expect to run back and just implement everything, but there's always good nuggets on leadership here, which I'll say I am probably the worst manager ever.
What makes you say that?
Because if someone comes to my organization in the past and says, you know, you see their resume, it's fantastic, they know how to do everything, all right, you don't need anything. Bad. I'm really good in my own chaos, but people are not.
Yeah.
I'll ask you a question. Where do grapes grow best?
I actually don't know a lot about grapes, but I see them on vines on hillsides in like moderate climates, right?
A trellis,
Okay.
because that's the structure to keep them off the ground.
Yep.
Okay, I do not know how to build structure. Bad management then.
Okay.
But I have a company like Gary Harper to come in and build my structure. People grow on that.
Uh-huh.
Then we put the right managers in place, and you put the vision on top of it. And he sat with me 2 years ago as I was pivoting into this, and it was a bad decision because I flew to Indiana in early December. That's dumb if you're a Florida boy.
Yeah, it's really cold.
And then he invited me back. I'm like, dude, never. But we were building structure since then. Because a manager can build structure, maybe a leader can't, because it's how you do things differently.
Yeah.
So you bring in the right people and the right structure, and then now your people can be successful. Where before, without that, we had a lot of failures.
Got it.
So.
Well, that's great. A great thing to learn from this group, and sounds like you've already implemented that and
Absolutely.
seen the fruits of your labor, so to speak.
Yes.
Well, what's something that you're really looking forward to with your relatively newer venture that's taking a pivot to these double wide homes and being a dealer for those?
Any kind of manufacturer. Yeah.
Yep. But what's something that you're really looking forward to?
So now that we've really done well with the land home packages, that's a separate division now in the company. Now we're going into building mobile home parks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So do you buy the land yourself? How does that work?
We have two, one under due diligence, and one's about to close in another month or so.
Okay.
So one's a small, like 20-unit build-out over here in Lakeland, and one's an 80-unit build-out. But both are permit ready. So less hassle to get to the finish line.
And so do you basically like buy the land, build it all? The people who own the houses don't necessarily own the land underneath, but is it like an HOA type of thing that they pay
So
into?
in the beginning, they'll all be what's called park-owned homes for so many years. So
rent them all out.
So my dealership can bring all the financing for all the units, plus more of the infrastructure. So then we'll bring in other financing for all your laterals, for your streets, for your electric, all that to be run in. But someone else will come and help me with that because I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
We'll raise different capital for that. And the first 5 or 6 years, they'll stay park-owned homes. But then after that, we'll sell them to the tenants on owner financing.
Okay. Cool.
See, my goal is never to build just giant rental communities. I want people to own homes.
Yep.
Because we're losing that in this country.
And what's the 5 years just allow it to stabilize like during that time?
That gives us time to pay off the loans on the homes so we don't have a note on them anymore.
Uh-huh.
But also we can return a profit, a small one, to the original investors, but they'll also profit on the back end numbers as well.
Got it.
You know, when you explain to them, hey, you're only going to make a little bit the first 5 or 6 years, they're like, one of my guys said, you're sounding really stupid right now. I said, listen. But then I said, when we sell them in year 6, you still get your percentage. He's like, wait a minute, even though I'm paid off? Even though you're paid off.
Mm-hmm.
You don't sound so dumb anymore now, he said. Mm-hmm. Because you got to get people understand that your payday is here, not here.
Right.
It's a different investor. People with a long game in mind.
Got it. Yeah.
Because their payout is even more.
6-year horizon.
But you have, even more after that, because in year 6 through whenever that note is paid, they're still going to make money. Mm-hmm. Not every investor thinks that long, right?
No.
So, depending on what their need is for their capital.
Well, that sounds really exciting. A new endeavor that's just kind of expanding on the knowledge you've already gained. So.
Yep. And then we'll take it out of state and see how it goes.
Yep. Well, awesome. I look forward to seeing how that deal goes. I'll have to check in maybe in a year or so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, see how it went.
Maybe you can do DealMachine and find mobile home parks.
You can.
I can?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to get the app again.
But it's not a park yet, though. You're making it a park, right?
But I would still buy old parks and knock everything down.
Okay.
So we want to build family-friendly parks. We don't
Yeah.
want to build, so you see a lot of the old units.
Yeah.
Okay? The problem with those is the returns now in this economy is shrinking.
Yep.
And a lot of those operators are getting crushed because we're talking. Mm-hmm. Because they didn't bring in the new units, and now your rents are going to suffer.
Got it.
But because if you're looking at old single wides that are as old as me, they're hard to rent to a better caliber of tenant and build better communities.
Got it. Yeah, I totally makes sense. So yeah, I mean, you can search by mobile home parks. There's a few different mobile home categories under additional property types. And then you can also see like the LLC in structure and who the officers are.
Okay.
So you can see the officers, all their birthdays, phone numbers, emails,
But I hate
all that stuff.
See, that's why everything we own, including our own home, is in a trust because you can't find us.
I think I still can't.
You get my lawyer's office.
Oh, really?
You can talk to him all day.
Okay. You checked
I've
recently.
seen it in the past.
Yeah.
Because so in Florida, under a land trust, the beneficial interest is shielded.
Okay.
You only can see the trustee.
Okay.
Yeah. If you unmask me, it's illegal.
All right. Well, we'll have to check. Just make sure we're not doing anything illegal.
No, you're not though. In the past, I saw his name there.
Right? Oh, you did check?
Years ago. Yeah.
Okay. It's way different now. The whole data stuff is like game changing.
You have to control the data today.
Okay.
You have to control it all. Like even with our realtors, we control their phone numbers and emails because we had issues.
What do you mean?
Where people weren't doing their job.
Okay.
And so now, but also they're always monitored. They want a weekend off, we have them covered. One of the girls in the office will answer all their calls. But we had an issue before where people weren't doing their job and returning phone calls, and that's their job, right?
Yeah.
We have a better set of realtors, but we still control all our own listings.
Gotcha. Well, I'm just saying the data is so good. I even know who's currently renting the house.
But
So
that's from power bills and everything, right?
It doesn't matter if it's in like a trust. If you live there, there's just many different ways where we can find out, like where we can determine. And I can look and see, but
yeah, we'll check. See, now probably my own home, because that's in a trust as well. You'll see that we're there. But you know, on the other ones, it should be a little harder, hopefully.
Yeah. We've just done a lot of work to do the opposite of unveiling stuff for you as an investor, but not to do anything illegal, of course, but just there's lots of different ways, and that's been our main focus. Probably a huge change since when you used the app originally, which was for more driving.
I thought you guys were a game changer then.
Yeah, it was. It definitely
was, right?
We had to evolve just like you're evolving as well.
And people tried to copy it like batch. It was never the same.
That's true.
We were using them, and we still use them for skip tracing, I think, whenever we do it, because we have a whole database of information that I never want to give away, right? But it was never the same, never. It was just, there it goes, right? I've used it up until 2023.
Yeah. Well, even the skip tracing, you could check that out in DealMachine too. If you don't skip trace anymore though, right? You just previously
once in a while we do.
Yeah.
Like you know how many times I found like an old mobile home just sitting there?
Oh yeah, and you want to check it out.
Hey, this is the address, find it for us, right? Because we make a lot more than half of our numbers come from knockdown units. You'd be surprised what impact fees cost in Florida.
What's an impact fee? Just
so
when
if you
knock
have
it down?
vacant land and then you build on it, they charge you. It's an impact to the community.
Okay.
Schools, roads, police, all of that.
All right.
So you go one county over, it's $18,000 for a manufactured home. Go to Orlando, it's $25,000.
You're saying to knock down?
No, vacant land to build on. You have to pay an impact to the community,
gotcha.
right? But that's a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
If I buy an old unit and I knock it down, I don't pay those fees.
Got it, because there's already one on there.
It's already paid
Got
for.
it.
And so then sometimes you can reuse the infrastructure. So that is more than half of our numbers now and growing.
That's awesome. So you want to find the old mobile homes.
Yeah, make better communities.
And pay less impact fees.
Oh, they're crazy.
Well, Tom, thank you so much, man.
Oh, man, thank you for having me.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
And I love learning about the charitable work that you do and the fact that you get involved as well. That was very inspiring to me, because the more impact you have on your communities, selling, you're passing that off to your own causes, and that's pretty cool.
We should all think that way. I hope as we grow older, it gets better for us. We need to make an impact where we live each and every day.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's getting better for us. You got AI solving problems now.
Dude, I love it. Oh, man. Like, my wife hates it because she's like, that's not really you talking. I'm like, no, it is. I just have it clean it up. She doesn't
What do
like
you mean
using
it's not you talking?
Well, so let's say we're sending an email, or when I'd write for even my presentation, it helped with it.
How?
Look, English was never my strong suit. Math and science, bad English. It makes the wording better. It helps set it up nicer.
So did you dictate it to it? Or
I wrote it, and then it rewrites it with better
Yeah.
grammar, and and what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
It's like having an English teacher as your secretary. And if you wanted it in French, Spanish, or whatever,
Oh, sure.
you're done. What's wrong with that? But you have to embrace it or you're going to get run over by it.
I agree. You got the right idea.
And she's like 15 years younger and hates it.
Yeah.
So it's the wrong way to be today.
Well, you're the one giving the presentation, so you're free to make
They're going to be there,
Yeah.
both my kids and my wife. Well,
That's
she's a
cool.
member as well.
Glad you brought them with you.
Yes, sir.
And thanks again for the time today. I appreciate it. I know
thanks for
time
having
away
me.
from them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.